Hello friends, my name is Ian and welcome back to Writing Talk, where once a month I take a writing topic of my choosing and just kind of talk about it. This episode we're going to be talking about outlines. And that's a very broad term because this video is going to be a little bit more broad than the previous ones I've made on this. Outlines are something many writers use to plot out their story. So this would be if you're a planner and you plan out what you're writing. So if you outline, you are either a planner or a pantser because, well, pantsers don't outline at all. Outlining is something I do frequently, so let's get started. To start off with, there are a lot, and I mean a lot, of outlining methods. There's the 3-act story structure, Save the Cat. There's ones that are a mixture of others, and some that make their own completely. It's also something I do, and a lot of people create their own outlining style or follow one of the previously mentioned styles, and the others change that to suit their needs. An outline can consist of chapters. It can consist of scene outlines. It can consist of a series of things, and sometimes you can use these plans to completely have your first draft ready in absolutely no time at all. Of course, before we get further into this video, I have to reiterate that if you are not a planner, then outlining is probably not something you should do. However, I do recommend everyone try it, even if they think they are a pantser. Because if you are a planner and outlining helps you find that out, then move along and just become a planner. If that's what's easiest for you, then do it. If not, then you can just revert back to what you had. From my personal experience, a few things that you get with outlining is just getting to know where your story goes at all times. If you know it's going one direction, then you can just continue going that direction and not continuously think that you might have gotten something wrong. Pantsers or discovery writers don't really have this problem either. It's just something I think you can very easily overcome with outlining. Outlining can be very, very time consuming, which is why it's not for everyone. But if you're someone like me who needs a lot of structure in their life and doesn't like change, then outlining is probably really good for you. And I would recommend you give it a good shot. And you can use these story structures how it's meant to be made, or you can change it around a little bit. When I started trying to come up with my own way to outline, all I had was bullet points, which you can see here. It was just chapter, some dots, and that got it done. And it gets a lot done for a lot of people with just bullet points. When I first started trying to figure out my own way to outline, I started with the 3-act story structure. From there, I changed it a bit more and adapted the 3-act story structure with bullet points, but with a bit more structure to it. If you know what it is, then you'll know. Basically, it's 3 acts, 1, 2, 3, like a play, where you get the beginning, the middle, and the end. In the traditional 3-act story structure, you have the same amount of chapters in every single act. In the first act, you have the beginning, the inciting incident, and the first plot point. After that, in the second act, you have the reaction period, the midpoint, the action period, and the second plot point. And in the third act, you have the pre-climax, the climax, and the resolution. And that's what I adopted. And after that, I kind of started to think that for me, the 3-act story structure wasn't quite enough. So what I did after that was just find a bunch of different story structures I could use. And then I looked at some of them, compared it to the 3-act story structure. And I added a few extra parts to mine. If I remember correctly, most of what I added came from an author named K.M. Weiland. I will show you the entire structure right now. It's got everything I talked about, the inciting incident, the first plot point, the second plot point, the midpoint. It's all there, but you have different parts. You now have 2 pinch points added into the second act, along with action point A, action point B, reaction point A, reaction point B. And this way I have more of a structure to follow, so I don't get bogged down trying to overthink one part of it, because that's a big problem I have. I really overthink a lot. So that's why something this structured can help me. It might not be able to help you because you might not need to outline this much, but I do. And even further down from that, I have chapter outlines, which are broken down into scene outlines. So I outline a scene with this. It's got the main plot, subplots. It's got the weather, time of day, what character it's following, and what happens in the chapter. And at the end, if there's anything else I need to add, I put it under notes. And I do this for every single scene in my book. And then you also have the action and reaction, which are scene structures, which you can use to outline if you need to. And I do kind of go a little bit crazy with outlining. I don't know many people that go as crazy as I do with outlining, although there are some others that do go really deep into it. So just experiment with what you might like and see if it makes you more of an outliner. If not, that is also completely fine. Outlining is one of those tools that you definitely don't need, but in a lot of cases will help you. Sometimes you don't even need to outline your entire book. You could outline in sections. You could only outline the chapters that you need to outline to get yourself to work, or anything else, really. It's important to know that outlining, just like everything else in writing, is highly personalizable and just very personal in general. Just look through different outlining methods and try them out. Mix and match, maybe make your own form of outlining, and then you'll just be going, and your first draft will basically write itself for you. Another good thing about outlining is that you can see very far ahead. That's about all I have for you today. Let me know, and let's have a conversation about outlining in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed and found this video a little bit informative. Then please be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already, as I post videos like this every Sunday. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you next week. As always, never stop writing. Bye!